Well, it's a historic day for the Indian markets, and if you are a trader, investor, looking at the screens right now, watching your favorite channel ET now, this should go back in history. Over 5% gains coming in on the Nifty, which is the benchmark index of mega caps. The Bank Nifty over 1,500 points. It's a complete re-rating and madness which is going on, and animal spirits clearly have been unleashed as far as the stock markets go. Big buying number is expected as far as this evening's data is concerned, but also a very large component of short covering which is happening in the market right now. If you look at some of the call options, if one were a betting man and you would have taken call options, higher call options for the Nifty and Bank Nifty, the data shows they've gone up almost 20, 30, 40 times. So that's the kind of gains which you would have made, because this kind of up move was absolutely not expected from the from the government, and one has to give it to the government that the market was completely not expecting the quantum of steps which have been taken, and this re-rating was kept under wraps. And we have now someone who's got the pulse of the corporate India right now and the economy. Mr. Keki Mistry joining us now to help us gauge the impact and the big boost for India Inc., which has been unleashed by the government. Mr. Mistry, very good afternoon to you. Thanks very much for chatting with us today. How would you rate the announcement and the reception by the market?
I think extremely positive. Sentiments in India for some time have been very weak, but particularly after the budget and the GDP numbers that had come out much weaker than people expected. So the market needed a little bit of a boost, and I think this is exactly the kind of boost that the market was looking forward to. So I think it's a very positive move. It will mean a little more investment. It will mean more people will look at making fresh investments into the system. As more investments come by, you will see more jobs getting created. Jobs will lead to income. Income will lead to more consumption. And a combination of higher investment and higher consumption will lead to pick up in GDP growth in due course. So there will be a little bit of a lag, but certainly the signs are extremely positive.
Mr. Mistry, a lot of time in the economy and the market, it's the sentiment which derives fundamentals also that the corporates scale back. So do you think that will get arrested, and at least it will improve in the next 6 to 7 months? We can see higher capex from corporates?
I would think so. I think you would see higher capital investment from companies. One would also wish that they had lowered the surcharge for individual taxation, because that would mean more consumption. That would result in further pickup in consumption. But this will certainly add to investments and consumption in due course, because more job creation. Really, what we really needed most in this economy was investments and more job creation.
Mr. Mistry, if you could help us understand how does it impact HDFC, because we want to get a sense on financials as a overall space is reacting most 8-10% moves coming in. How is the average taxation for your company, and how does it change after this announcement?
Typically, our tax rate would be about 27-28%. So if the tax rate was to be brought down to a lower level, it will certainly benefit us. But more importantly, we have to see the language on what it says, because the lower tax rate is in the expectation that you will not claim any exemption or any deduction. Now, what would happen to capital gains? What would happen to dividend income? These are things we need to understand, and we have to see the fine print for that. But whichever way it is, it will definitely be a reduction in the tax rate for us, and therefore that would mean a higher profit after tax. And this would apply to all companies. Why only us?
Mr. Mistry, but you also travel across the world, when you are meeting investors, etc., and are aware of the tax rates. And even our finance minister did allude that the move which has been done will bring India's tax rates in line with global averages. How do you think the overseas investing community could react to it? Will this particular move be taken by both hands? Because they've been voting with their feet as far as at least the market goes. They've been consistent sellers in the market for a very long time. What kind of a message, in your view, does this move send out to overseas investors?
No, in my view, this sends out a very positive message to foreign institutional investors, because foreign investors typically look at profitability. They look at EPS, they look at the price-earning ratio of the company, they look at the price-to-book ratio. These are the numbers they look at. And by lowering the tax rate, effectively the post-tax profit of a company would increase, the price-earning ratio would come down, and that would make India a more attractive investment opportunity for foreign investors.
So one last question. Finance Minister also acknowledged that there will be 1.45 lakh crore, the cost of this particular measure. Do you think this will be made up for by enhanced business activity? And do you think, or this is a worry because there was hardly any fiscal room in the first place?
Well, to be honest, in my personal view, sacrificing a little bit of the fisc at a time like this, it should not be taken in a negative sense at all, for two reasons. One is, globally, the environment is very benign at this moment. One does not see any global inflation seeping through into India. Secondly, even domestic inflation is relatively benign, and therefore one's expectation of rate cuts was always there. And I think if this gives a boost to the economy, that would go a much longer way in just attaining a fiscal target, which was sort of preset. I also think that apart from the fiscal, the fact that the tax rates have been lowered will result in more economic activity, and that economic activity will contribute to higher taxes in due course. I've always believed that lower tax rates will always bring in better compliance, and lower tax rates will ultimately bring in higher collection, whether it's on the individual front or on the corporate front.
All right, Mr. Mistry, we'll let you go on that one. Thanks so much for your time.